Ben, are we ready?
Ample parking everywhere. Everyone says no to neighbor. This flag is not going to salute itself.
I'd like to please call to order the Board of Education meeting for Saline Area Schools for September 13th, 2022 at 6:31 p.m. If everyone could please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, all. Welcome. Dr. Lotch asked if we could pause for a few moments so he could say a few words.
I'd like to read a statement that I've crafted regarding the passing of a beloved teacher, Triska Beasley. This will be followed by a moment of silence. It's with deep sorrow that I share the news that one of our Saline Area Schools teachers, Triska Beasley, has passed away unexpectedly on September 12th. Triska taught math for 21 years at Saline High School and was also involved in many extracurriculars such as coaching volleyball and overseeing the math club. We are working directly with our staff, students, and Triska's immediate and extended family, including her children, Kendra and Josh, to provide as much support as possible during this incredibly difficult time. Triska was the type of teacher who truly embodied lifelong learning. She was always, and I mean always, trying to improve her craft. She loved teaching statistics, and in doing so, she was constantly seeking ways to engage students in real-life learning. I remember her calling me into her room one day to tell me about the awesome statistics project-based learning unit she created that connected sports and stats. That was her March Madness Statistics Challenge. She implemented it, and her students loved it. Triska knew the importance of integrating the elements of the SAS compass into her instructional model. I would often observe her teaching, and it was often focused on students collaborating together to solve problems. She really got it. Students really loved Miss Beasley, where she was often recognized as the most influential teacher at athletic senior nights and SAS Compass Award nights. She was proud of her students, their AP test scores, and her persistent quest to better engage kids in the world of statistics. Triska will be missed tremendously. Please join me in a moment of silence in honor of Triska Beasley. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really nice, Steve. Trustee Miller is absent this evening, and I know she joins the rest of the board in our condolences to her family and the staff and students that were dealing with this news last night. Thank you very much. This is our first opportunity for public comment. Betty, do we have any forms? Okay, I'm going to acknowledge that there is no public comment tonight for first pass. Moving to revisions and approval of the agenda. Items may be added or deleted from the meeting agenda, and or the order of items may be changed at the request of an individual board member or the superintendent. The agendas must be approved before proceeding further. I'd like to please entertain a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Motion, Gerby.
Brad, thank you.
Support.
Okay. All right, Candace, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 6-0. Moving on to our student showcase, I'd like to invite our middle school and high school robotics team to the podium. If you could toggle the mic on, that would be great. Presenting for the high school, and please let me know if I mispronounce your name, Megana. And what's that? Magna, thank you. Will, and for our middle school, Cavan, thank you. Alicia, all right. Emerson, and for the elementary school, Quinn. Where's Quinn? Hi, Quinn. Maxwell, and Danya. Denaya, thank you so much, and their advisors. Whenever you are ready. Okay, and if you might want to approach, do you see the green light on the And if you can come in front of the mic, that would be wonderful because we live stream this too, so your family and friends can see you at home, and I'm sure they want to hear you too. All right, thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Kavin, and I'm in 6th grade, and this is my 3rd year of robotics.
I'm Alicia. I'm in 7th grade, and this is my 4th year in robotics.
I'm Max Tiani, and this is my 2nd year in Lego Robotics.
My name is Danaya, and I'm in 4th grade, and this is my 2nd year in robotics.
Hi, I'm Quinn. I'm in 6th grade, and this is my 3rd year in robotics.
Is there a next slide? I'm sorry.
FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology, and FIRST gives students a hands-on experience and helps them work together and provides them with hands-on experiences and real-life job opportunities.
There are 3 different levels of robotics. There's the elementary level, or FLL, also known as First Lego League, which consists of 3 teams: Robo Swarm, Robo Sting, and Robo Hornets. And then there's the middle school team, the First Tech Challenge, or FTC, which has the Hornet Hackers, the Cybugs, and Swarm. And finally, there's the high school team, which is FRC, or First Robotics Competition, which is just Saline Singularity.
So, of course, FIRST is about more than just robots, and this is really summed up in their 2 terms that they've coined: gracious professionalism and cooperation. So while we're competing, we want everyone to do the best that they can, and all FIRST competitions across all levels are really unique, with teams going out of their way to help each other and make sure that everyone can compete, even if it's their opponents in the very next match.
Let me set you guys up. All right, so I'd like to introduce the elementary team. The elementary team is grades 4 through 5, currently in the 4th year of the program, and we have grown to 19 members across 3 different teams, even adding a spring season this year. It's a holistic program. It's not just about robots, it's not just about coding. It's about grit, it's about becoming holistically, gracious professional individuals. Right, Max? So Quinn, why don't you come up here and tell us about our 21 season? Absolutely, bring it on up. Oh, good. All right. Just put them all up there.
All of them.
Okay.
Make sure they don't fall.
I will do my best. So this season, last season, was called Cargo Connect. It was about the journey of goods and services, like what it takes to get an Amazon package that you order to your house. We had 2 teams. It was one more than we had in 2020, because apparently we got more popular. I was on Robo Swarm, I think, yeah. Our first competition was the regional competition. We went in very excited and very confident, although it was very early in the morning. We won the first place Robot Performance Award and the first place Champions Award, which we were all very excited about, which also meant we got to go to states. At our state competition, we won the first place Champions Award, which means we would have gone to Worlds, but sadly because of COVID, they could only send one of the 2 teams that got the first place Champions Award. So yeah. All right, got him.
All right. Max, you want to tell us about the robot? It's down there. Yeah.
Okay.
It will
This is our Lego robot from last year. We chose some of the attachments because like we needed it to do like many things. We chose the moving wall, which I will demonstrate. Wait.
Did you see Trustee Gerby go over there? He's very interested. Anytime robotics or anything, you may pass it around. I know. Does it move? Can you put it on the floor? Does it move on the floor? Oh, okay.
Did we code it to move? Okay.
Okay.
But it can move though.
We got excited, sorry.
We chose the moving wall as one of our attachments for to do different missions on the board. Okay.
And it's not just all about robotics, right? You want to
Yeah.
introduce Denaya?
This is Denaya. She'll be talking about gracious professional.
No, innovation project.
Innovation project.
So, for our innovation project last year, we were supposed to help Shamrock Farms. It was a dairy farm from Arizona, and their problem was their workers were working 14 hours a day hauling heavy milk cartons, and they were constantly getting injured, so we needed to find a way to help them. So we used this watch, and it can track people's heart rate. So whenever a worker's heart rate got to a certain position, it would tell them to take a break. And right now they are currently searching for someone to actually make these watches, more of them for their workers.
And what did you guys do with the watch? Did you?
We ran around carrying milk cartons, apparently, and it got our heartbeats up, and it told us to take a break, so it did work. And we also had fun making the animations that go with a watch, like a heart and a calendar and a cow.
Program the whole thing, right?
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. And just quick thanks to all of our, we have enjoy a lot of support from a lot of businesses in the community, and of course from the administration. Thank you, Dr. Lodge, and Kara Davis. They helped get us all the resources we needed to start a spring season. That was very important to us and support the growth of the program. So we're very excited for the bond as well and all the resources allocated for STEM. So hopefully we can keep these programs growing. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Since Chris ended on something with the bond, that was actually my first question. So I'll do a first question, then we'll open it up for comments and questions. Oh my goodness!
Through the middle school and the high school.
Well, you go ahead. I got all excited and wanted to ask a question. Go ahead.
This one's yours. So nationally, FTC is usually 8th through 12th grade, but since Michigan has so many teams, we have it as 6th through 8th grade, and that's 15 members per team. And our team makes a robot out of an aluminum kit of parts that has a 12-volt system, and it can use up to 8 motors or 12 servos.
A lot of new cool things happened in the 2021 season. We got all new hardware Go Builda, which really helped us reach our full potential while building a robot and allowed us to be a lot more compact and navigate the field easier. We also got all new vision coding, but there was also Fright Frenzy, which allowed us, which we had to transfer freight, these little balls and squares into different goals, and we had to make our own freight, which we then had to place on top of like a 2-3 foot tall. And then our robot could do every single way to score points in the game, which was really impressive. And both of our teams went to states, which was a first for middle school robotics in Saline.
So last year's season, the middle school had 45 members. So we had this season, we have 45 members in the middle school team, which is more than enough to have 3 different teams this year. This season's tech challenge is power play. And by placing cones on the spring-mounted rods, as you can see on the picture, is the way to score points for your team and the Alliance's team.
So Megan and I are here to talk to you guys about the high school robotics team. All right, so the high school team, we're known as Saline Singularity. We have 32 members, and we divide ourselves in all of our meetings into 6 little sub-teams. Those are electrical, mechanical, CAD, programming, business, and scouting, yes. So one of the things we're really proud of on the high school team is that we're very student-led. So for example, we have different like sub-team leads, and also Meghna usually leads our team meetings. And then, so when our initial challenge is released, we have about 6 weeks from when we know what we're supposed to do to our first competition, where we have to have the robot ready and we're all ready to go. So then during those 6 weeks, we're working very hard, and then we meet for about 18 to 20 hours a week. Oh. Not very good with computers. It's not fitting for the robotics team. Thank you. So the FRC challenge, like Emerson mentioned, it's the most complex challenge out of all of firsts. So usually we have to manipulate some sort of ball or cube, and then also there's usually a climbing aspect. And each match consists of 2 different alliances, and these alliances have 3 different randomly picked teams on each alliance. So last year in 2022, it was called Rapid React, where we had to pretty much shoot these like playground-sized balls into a 10-foot tall hoop in the middle of the field. And the field is about 60 feet by 25 feet. And then also you can see in the bottom left picture, our robot had to pretty much climb monkey bars. So that was kind of a struggle getting a 140-pound robot up onto a big bar.
So last year, as a team, we did really well. We hosted the Saline competition, the first competition in Saline ever. We'll talk about that more here in a second. But in that competition, we made it to the semifinals. And then in our second competition of the season, Walled Lake, we were selected by Alliance 8 and played in the quarterfinals, which we unfortunately didn't make it past there. But we did get the Judges Award at Walled Lake, which we got for our team wiki, which is just basically a compilation of articles on different components of the team that our seniors leave behind for us each year, so that the knowledge on the team can get passed down, as well as our scouting system, which is unique on our team because we collect data across every single match played, and we share that with all of the teams, so anyone can look at it and see how they want to pick their alliances, what their alliance partners can do, and so on.
So like Megan had just mentioned, last year we held a competition at Saline, which was a first for us. We had 40 teams and over 1,400 robotics students, and overall that's about 2,500 people that came to the high school for robotics. And we already have plans underway for this year. And one of the things is it was mainly student-led last year and student-organized. And out of the 20-plus robotics competitions I've been to, this has been by far one of the smoothest.
So last year, our elementary school had 19 students and 3 mentors. And our middle school last year had 26 students and 3 mentors too, which is a huge change to this year because this year the middle school has 45 students and 6 mentors. And last year the high school had 32 students and 5 mentors.
So robotics has made an impact on so many people's lives. Last year we had 14 senior graduates. You can see 12 of them in that picture. And all of them went into engineering colleges to get some sort of degree in engineering across the board. And of them, many of them had spent 7 years in robotics, meaning they were 6th graders on the first ever middle school team. And also this year we have multiple mentors, FRC mentors on the middle school team, including one who is a freshman in college and just keeps coming back because he loves it so much. And finally, we do have some middle school mentors on the elementary team to pass that on.
So one of the big parts of FIRST that Chris mentioned earlier is sponsorships. So on the high school team we have 12 sponsors, and our sponsors can range from anything from monetary to even, we have some sponsors that will help us make parts. Just for some reference, to register for FIRST every year, it costs $5,000. And also for every competition we go to, depending on if it's just like a regional or qualifier or even worlds, that costs between $4,000 and $6,000. And also every year we build a brand new robot from scratch, and that costs also about $6,000.
So outreach is important to all of our teams, and we wanted to highlight just some of the events that we go to. The bottom 2 pictures are us in parades. The middle school team does the Christmas parade most years, And then the other picture is of us in the homecoming parade last year. We were able to take our 2020 robot and push it along in that. And then this summer, we went to Michigan International Speedway on a race weekend for a robotics showcase. And that was a ton of fun. And we got lots of outreach there. And then one of the other things we're really proud of is our workshops. We have hosted multiple workshops the high school team has. Girls workshops, general recruiting workshops. These are all hands-on and free to participate. And it's a great way to get people interested in robotics without committing to the team. And then finally, the Saline competition was a huge area of outreach for us last year. We were actually able to present to the Saline Chamber of Commerce, which is a huge opportunity to get our name out there and to show other people what we do. And the competition was a huge success, as Will mentioned. So that was a great way to put ourselves out there. So one of the things we love to do with this presentation is to show how we connect to the compass in almost every point. And we can't cover every point, but we want to show you what we can. So collaborative leadership is a big one, especially on the high school team. Like Will mentioned, all the sub-teams have their leads, and these leads plan all of the meetings and plan the season together, making us work together, but also work together to lead the team and make sure everything's ready and organized and that we can run for each season. And then FIRST is a globally connected organization as well. Every year, these challenges are released to teams all across the world at the same time. And when you make it to higher competitions like Worlds, you can be competing with teams from Israel or Japan. And that's just a great opportunity to see how robotics is there, because they're building a very similar robot to you, but they're the same. They're doing it the same challenge. So yeah.
All right. The point I chose to do was creativity, which I feel really connects to FIRST robotics overall as in multiple points. But at the beginning, while you're building a robot and thinking of ideas, you really have to be creative with finding different solutions to problems of scoring points. So like this year, we have to get our things onto really tall poles, and our robot can only be like 18 feet tall. So you have to think of a way to make our robot expand tall enough to put these cups on top of the poles.
Another big thing is in robotics is communication, because we all communicate to each other in our team to get great ideas from each other to design new bots. And we don't only communicate in our team, but when we go to competitions, we communicate to other teams to learn about their bots.
Another point of the compass that connects to robotics is collaboration, and this is such an important part of robotics because it helps us as students work together and in teams and inputting other people's ideas and really learning from each other, which is such an important part of robotics.
We also have to be very digitally and financially literate in robotics. So financially, because Megan mainly is in charge of all of our money. So figuring out what we can spend money on, new sort of tools we can get, new machines. And we also have to be digitally literate because we're constantly learning new softwares for, say, programming and CAD. And lastly, we have to be some pretty critical thinkers. For example, as the main driver on the team, when something inevitably breaks during a match, I have to find a way to try and alter our strategy to do as best as possible.
And finally, we just wanted to say thank you to Saline Area Schools. You've given us so much, from our shop space and coming to support us at our competitions, to the STEAM page to get our names out there for all of us on the teams. And also, thank you so much for considering us in the bond at the new spaces. That will make such an impact to these programs. So thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I got excited. We started the applause. Now we applaud for everybody. So thank you so much. I loved gracious professionalism and cooperation. What was that? I love it. That was wonderful. So my only question, and then I'll let everybody ask some questions or give comments, is what do you want, right? We talk about all the bond, and we have this It's, yeah, just a few things, like top 3 things. I would love to hear from student voices, what you wish you had for your program that maybe can be considered with bond money, if that happens.
Yeah, so one of the main things for the high school, like I mentioned earlier, is with the sponsors. Currently, we have quite a few sponsors making parts for us, and having the space and the machinery would be really helpful because then we could prototype a lot faster and come up with some more complex designs. Also, some new computers, because right now we have a fleet of some old early 2000s laptops, and running CAD and all of our programming software on there isn't the best.
And then I would say mainly for the middle school, getting our own space to be able to perform, because like we do have 3 hours a week, but like a third of that is spent just setting up the field and getting all of the bots ready, setting up all the hardware. So if we can keep that constantly set up, we can have a lot more time and hopefully get more success.
Anything from the elementary school? Okay, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you. Susan, yeah?
Maybe a couple of you can answer. What first sparked your interest in robotics?
So I've been doing robotics for 8 years, which is longer than anyone here because I was in a program through my old school. And really, it was just getting to go to a camp where I got to build a Lego and then it moved. And that was just so cool to me that I was the one in control of it. And now, even though I'm not really on the building side of it, it's just so cool to see how these things come together and to know that you're helping with this bigger project.
So you thanked us a few minutes ago for our support, right? And I will tell you this, you deserve our support, right? The reality for us is that it's my opinion that you guys run high-level programs, right? Like our student programs, I would put up against anybody. I'd put our STEM team out there on that field, hopefully pass by, the bond against anybody. So just like our athletic programs, I think our STEM programs are also top-notch. And so you deserve our support. And so I just want to say that I'm proud that the bond would support you in the work that you're doing, and just keep it up, and I thank you for visiting us. Thank you for your time tonight.
Any other questions, comments? Allison, do you want to say anything?
So
Brad just wrapped it up for us.
last year, my AP Lang teacher, Mr. Hill, had this saying that he would say whenever we did something that he thought was good or funny, and he would say, "That's you showing the Saline difference." And that was his joke that he made. And just listening to that presentation, I heard Mr. Hill's voice in my ear, and I heard him saying, "That's the Saline difference," because I don't know any other club in the high school, really, that has 45 members on a team. And I think having 45 club members on a middle school robotics team is very impressive. And I just think you should all be very proud of yourselves for what you have created and what you've demonstrated through your competitions.
We had another person who was going to respond about the sparking your interest, so I want to make sure that she gets to go. So.
In the begining, in 4th grade, I was forced into it, but my favorite season was the one in 5th grade, and I'm glad I stuck with it because I had so much fun now that I actually knew what I was doing, and yeah.
Perfect answer.
Thanks. When we hosted the competition here, I was really honored to open the second day, the Sunday, and go 5066. Is that what you call yourselves? Yeah, all right. Go. First of all, I have 2 questions. Is it Will? Yes. What are you using, Windows 98 or something? It really is time for an upgrade. I can't promise that, but...
We upgraded them to Windows 10, but we're still
Okay, good start. And Denaya, I think, I was very impressed with your watch. I'm a judge at the Global Invention Convention, and I really hope to see that sort of talent and work go to that competition as well. So there's lots of opportunities for you for sure. So the watch was very impressive to me.
I wasn't the only one who made it. The rest of my team last year did it.
I was referring to you as the one who presented it to us as Quinn and Max. You guys are awesome representatives of your team, though. Thank you so much.
They're actually all at the middle school practice that's happening right now. They keep graduating and filtering.
I don't want to drag this out too long because you all have to get some rest, some well-deserved rest. But I was at this competition, and if you'd done a video of me as it started, and when all those robots suddenly kicked into gear, ran into the middle, picked up the balls, and started throwing them 20 feet away into a hoop with incredible accuracy, Brad Gerby-style accuracy. I was so impressed at the noise, and you held your ground toe-to-toe with some of these real monster players out there in the field. So well done. I'm looking forward to even more success from you. Anyway, thank you so much to the coaches and for all your energies. That was great.
Thank you. Oh, Candace wants to say one thing. And then I see
just have a really
our
quick
friends
thing.
in the hallway. Yeah.
I know, I see them too. I just want to say this is wonderful, and you all are truly embodiments of the compass. So I love that you even incorporated that, because before you started along those lines, I was thinking it. So very powerful to just have that intentional connection to that. And also wanted to state that I love that this is really creating a pathway to engineering careers or to STEM careers, and that, you know, it's not just something that we're thinking is a good idea and will create opportunities for students beyond high school, but we're seeing it in practice. And to have 100% of those who graduated enter into engineering careers, I think is worth a separate special mention. That's excellent. And if we can continue to tell that story, I think that would be great too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I'm sure your parents and guardians would like to get a picture, so we'll let you guys get that out in the vestibule, and we'll invite our other friends in. Moving to our first scheduled report, introduction of the 2022-2023 new hires, Assistant Superintendent of HR, Mr. Kurt Ellis, and team.
Good evening. You're going to see a long line of folks come in here behind me. I'm very pleased to be able to introduce to you, or have them introduce themselves to you tonight, a number of our new hires. This is the largest number of people that we've hired from July 1st to September 1st in the last decade plus. So you'll see a long line come in here, and hopefully you can kind of process where they're all from. But we're going to go ahead and start with Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica Hodges, and I work at Woodland Meadow as a paraeducator.
Hi, good evening. I'm Joe Stefanko, and I'm the new school psychologist at Saline Middle School.
Hi, I'm Jason Sines. I'm the new school psychologist at the high school and Liberty here.
Hi, I'm Asia Perales. I am a school counselor at the high school.
Hi, I'm Marcy Wright-Bauer, and I'm a paraeducator at Heritage.
Hi, I'm Sharon Cho. I'm a district BCBA, and I'm in all the buildings.
Hi, good evening. I'm James Rafko. I'm originally from South Carolina, so I'm the assistant principal from South Carolina, and I'm working at the Saline High School.
Hi, I'm Trent Trout, and I'm the new manufacturing teacher at the high school.
Hi there, I'm John Van Volkenberg, and I'll be teaching 7th grade English at the middle school this year.
Hi, I'm Kelly Barnett, and I'm teaching 8th grade ELA and social studies at the middle school.
Good evening, I'm Molly Biesel. I am a special ed TC at the high school.
I'm Connie Miller, and I am a school bus driver. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Matthew Sneed, and I am a new English teacher at Saline High School.
Hi, I'm Karen Hawk. I am a literacy tutor at Pleasant Ridge.
Hi, I'm Laura Viviano. I'm a literacy tutor at Pleasant Ridge Elementary.
Hi there, my name is Rachel Parent. I am joining the English department at Saline High.
Hello, my name is Sarah Shad. I am a para-educator at Woodland Meadows.
My name is Jessica Lavasser, and I'm a paraeducator at Pleasant Ridge Elementary.
Hello, I'm Deanna Chose, and I'm a new para at the middle school.
Hi, Jackie Sweet. I'm an office assistant at Heritage.
Kathy Giles, also an office assistant at Heritage.
Hi, I'm Cheatham Noro, CTE Tech Assistant at Saline High School.
Hello, Susan Cody, former ELL tutor for elementary schools and now Dean of Students at the high school.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Tyler Palka, Dean of Students at Saline High School.
Hi, I'm Libby Parrington. I'm one of the new Dean of Students at the middle school.
Hello, I am Marcus Jones. I am the Dean of Students at the middle school as well.
Hi, I'm Sarah Blades. I'm the speech therapist at the middle school.
Hi, I'm Natalie Hanlon, and I teach 6th grade at the middle school.
Hello, I am Sarah Blaney, and I am I'm sorry, I don't know what I am. I'm at Heritage, and I teach the best 5th grade class there is there.
Hi, I'm Dana Shu. I'm teaching 1st grade at Woodland Meadows.
Hi, I'm Karen Lavery. I am teaching Young Fives at Harvest Elementary.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lindsay, and I'm teaching kindergarten at Harvest Elementary.
Hi, I'm Morgan Dobbins, and I'm teaching 2nd grade at Harvest Elementary.
Hello, I'm Olivia Jacobs. I'm teaching special ed at the middle school.
Hello, Mariel Castro Valdez. I'm an EL tutor at the Saline High School and Harvest.
Hello, my name is Paola Munoz, and I'm working as a parapro at Heritage Elementary.
Hi, I am Ava Wilkos, and I'm a life skills teacher at Heritage.
Hi, I'm Emily Mueller, and I'm a resource room teacher at Heritage.
Hi, I'm Amanda McKinney, and I'm a speech therapist at Heritage.
Hi, I'm Jessica Yaksik, and I'm a resource room teacher at Heritage.
Hi, I'm Kyle Erickson. I work for the special ed department here at Liberty as a student service assistant.
So if you could see us smiling off to the side, it was because as they were introducing themselves, a lot of us were remembering their Top Gun call signs. If you saw our new hire video, they all had chosen their own call signs, and Marcus in particular had a great introduction. There it was right there. So please join me in welcoming these folks to Saline Area Schools.
Thank you so much. You're an impressive group. I see Megan agrees. So we're very excited, and I think we might be missing maybe at least a few. I know one emailed us today to introduce herself. So even for those who couldn't be here tonight, to everyone, welcome to Saline Area Schools, or welcome to a new position within Saline Area Schools. We appreciate you. Thank you. Good group. Moving on to our second scheduled report of the evening, the Foundation for Saline Area Schools, our new executive director, Stacy Rumsa.
Oh, now it is. Should I start over again? Okay, so just to give you a little bit of information about myself, I have actually been in the school district for the last 10 years. The first 2 years I was working in the office at Harvest Elementary, and then for the 8 years after that, I was actually a literacy tutor. I have volunteered for the foundation for many years since my kids were in elementary school, either attending events or volunteering. And that was when they were in elementary school, and they are both in high school now. I have a sophomore and a senior. My previous background before that, though, was in sales and marketing. for 11 years with HGTV and the Food Network. I was a regional sales manager, and so my emphasis was in sales and marketing. So for anyone here that may not be familiar with the Foundation for Saline Area Schools, it's a 501c3 nonprofit. We provide funding to support academic projects, enrichment programs, and other activities aimed at enhancing the quality of education in the Saline School District. We greatly depend on donations, both financially, but also just giving of your time as a volunteer is very important as well. We accept grant applications, which can be submitted by teachers and staff, students, administration, and even the community. We do have a big, our big event, which is the fall fundraiser. It's solid as a rock. A strong foundation creates a bright future. This event is going to take place on Thursday, October the 13th at noon here in the Liberty Gymnasium. It's free and open to anyone. There will be an RSVP link that will go live on our website, which is supportfsas.org at the end of this week. We will be highlighting approximately 5 recent grants in this past year, and those teachers involved with the grants will present about what they've done with those funds. So I hope that everyone comes to learn more about the foundation, and we definitely would love to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to stay up there in case anyone
Yes.
has any questions? And we did have our foundation meeting this morning. I'll provide an update later, but one of my takeaways, Stacy and I wanted to be sure to invite all existing trustees and all trustee candidates to this event, and we'll email you an invitation to that tomorrow. Any questions or comments for Stacy?
I do have a quick one.
Yeah.
In the past, a highlight of the cold, dark winter has been the Winterfest or the Snow Bowl
Blast.
or whatever, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Are you planning on having one maybe this year?
Yeah, we actually are, a group within the foundation was just talking about that this morning. So we are getting the wheels turning on that, and we are definitely going to be planning something probably the end of February or the beginning of March.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you again soon. Thanks, Stacy. Moving to our third scheduled report of the evening, teaching and learning update from the Director of Teaching and Learning, Kara Davis.
Good evening. It's great to have everybody here this evening and to see all those wonderful new teachers who we are providing a lot of support to and welcoming to all of our different buildings. It's really exciting to see that big group, and I'm reminded of the rapid hiring cycle that we had this summer right up to the end, so it's great to see all of them there. So thank you to Assistant Superintendent Ellis for coordinating all of that. And looking at our teaching and learning team update for today, we're focusing again on district continuous improvement. And I'm looking forward to sharing a lot of information with you tonight. This is actually a follow-up to our July presentation. And at that presentation, I did share quite a bit about the Michigan Continuous Improvement process that is shortened to MICIP. You might hear some repetitive information, but I felt it would be really important to spiral some of the pieces from the summer into perhaps a more viewed or participated in September board meeting so that we can continue to build upon what we have started. So there's some information in here that I'm cycling forward intentionally. Next slide, please. Oh, I've got this. Sorry. Good, thanks. All right, so our objectives tonight, our hope is to, come back to our continuous improvement process and connect it to our data story, as well as to highlight some of the key data points and trends that are informing our district decisions and the action steps that we are taking to maintain areas of strength and address areas of need and growth that we've identified across the last handful of months based upon our exit data from this past year, as well as the emerging data from MSTEP and the SAT. So my hope is to continue to provide information across regular intervals. So we are actually in what would be considered quarter 3. I'm going to explain that a little bit towards the end. But we will be coming back continuously to continue to present on how we are doing with our continuous improvement process. So just know this is the beginnings, and we are in what is considered the implementation phase. As a reminder, Dr. Lotch has highlighted 4 key areas for the 2022-23 school year that I want to continually center. These 4 areas are really nice complements to our overall district goals: academic rigor centered around the SAS compass, culture of equity, civility and unity, as well as improving SAS for the future. And when we think about continuous improvement as a district-wide focus area, it really is to create a sustainable and consistent process in which we can positively impact the overall district. So we are using the state continuous improvement process called MyKIP. There is information, again, as I mentioned, in our July slide deck, which is available on the board meeting minutes. And as a part of this, when we think about MyKIP centers the whole child. And the goal with the state moving to the MyKIP process is really to look at integrating a wide variety of components that make a school district be successful for their students. So transportation, food services, finance, social and emotional programming, as well as academics. So a lot of the information that I have highlighted in the past and that I'll be highlighting today is a combination of all of these data points. And that is because we are being very intentional about looking at whole child, whole community, whole school improvement. And that is, of course, oriented around our vision, beliefs, and missions. So when we think about our areas of inquiry as a teaching and learning team and as a district leadership team, and then of course teacher leaders are a part of that, and then our building staff, some areas that we use to ask questions and really dive in and think about what are our needs and where are our bright spots. Our data story is made up of a variety of different indicators. So academic success indicators include what we would consider cadence and F&P, for reading NWEA, course grades, and standardized test results. And from a behavioral and social emotional standpoint, our success indicators, we look at what we call PBIS and SWIS data, attendance, discipline logs, survey results, and feedback. This past spring, when we analyzed the data from those various points of inquiry, we did find some trends, and I presented these in July. And it was interesting because when looking at a variety of different data points, we do see some bright spots that we're really excited about. I shared these in July, but I'll go through them really quickly for the sake of the viewing audience. So for example, from our EOY cadence reading testing that we do 3 times a year, at the end of the year, an indication that over 80%, approximately 80% of our second and third grade students met grade level benchmark. And our NWA math and reading testing indicates that approximately 80% of our 4th through 8th grade students reached average or above proficiency. Our ELA course grades in math in 9th through 11th grade indicate that, and in ELA, indicate that approximately 80% of our students are reaching a proficiency level of C or higher. And on survey results, from a couple of different surveys, over 80% of students, staff, and and families feel that the learning standards and expectations for students are clearly explained. From a social emotional angle, this is still academic, approximately 80% of teachers have high learning standards and expectations for all students. And then from a social emotional angle, over 90% of survey respondents indicated that teacher, counselor, and other staff members are available for students to go to for a school problem, and that we have a large variety of activities for our students as indicated by survey results as well. And this is looking at, again, we're triangulating a variety of different data points, looking for trends and seeing how they all intersect in order for us to make decisions and inform next steps as a district. Simultaneously, in July, I also was pointing out some areas that we noticed from our spring data that was focus areas for us to consider, to ask questions around, to think about areas for improvement. So when we look at the same academic data, cadence testing indicated that approximately 20% of K through 3rd grade students did not reach grade level proficiency on their benchmark test. And that same cadence testing indicated that approximately 40% of K through 3rd grade students did not reach grade level benchmark proficiency in math. And then the data from NWEA showed that about 20% of our 4th through 8th grade students are not reaching average or above proficiency on reading and math NWEA. So those were numbers that we felt that were high, too high for us to disregard, and really wanted to dig into more. And then we also noticed that less than 80% of teachers, that some students felt like, and that less than 80% of teachers successfully showed students how lessons related to life outside of school. We noticed that there's some disproportionality that's emerging that we want to study more. We also noticed a data point that was consistent across multiple surveys, that the social emotional needs of our students, less than 80% of our social emotional needs of our students are being met as indicated by students and staff. That was actually very different from our family respondents. That was much higher. And then less than 80% of our students in school receive supports that addresses their individual needs. So in the previous slide, it said that they have the support needed to reach their academic needs and their school needs, but not necessarily their individual needs. So we were holding on to all of these data points this summer and thinking it through and talking about it and thinking through what are our next steps as a district. We did set some plans in motion, and that's what I presented on in July, and the MyKIP goals that you approved this past board meeting. And then most recently, we've had access to additional data points because the standardized test scores for the state is no longer embargoed, so we're able to talk about them publicly and do some actual digging in and sharing them with people, which is really exciting. So we have looked at some of our state assessment data and have some initial takeaways, and this the state did just release this recently as we were starting school and getting things underway. So we do have some initial takeaways, and there's still some more work to do to dig into the data and think about what it means for us next as a school district. Some initial takeaways are like seeing evidence of gains in multiple grades and also seeing continued need for growth. So it's a both and. There are some real bright spots that we're seeing in the standardized test data as well as continued areas of growth. It does seem like math has been more significantly impacted than ELA. Sorry for that typo there. And that's not consistent in every grade level, but it does seem like that that math has had a more of a decline than our reading and writing has for our students, and not as quick of a upswing back to our pre-pandemic state. We do continue to outperform state overall results and mirror national trends. And then we are also still seeing some disproportionality in the disaggregated results, specifically, and I think this is also trending nationally and statewide as well, related to socioeconomic status, students with IEPs, and then race, specifically Black and Hispanic, and then even to dig into that a little bit more, EL subgroups. So, and we will go into that further. Like I said, we'll have future board presentations and we can talk more about the disproportionality, but these are some of the trends that we are seeing right now. To orient you, there's quite a few data slides, and I can hear Caroline in my head saying, like, there's gonna be a lot of information, there's a lot of data to dig through. So to orient the group to the information that I'm about to present on, I did decide to group it by grade bands and content areas, as well as to approach the data representation from a variety of different angles. So one angle we can look at it is just static. What were we in spring of 2022? That is our status quo, here's where we're at, we're gonna move forward from there. Another angle to approach data representation from is more dynamic, so year-over-year changes. So I'll show you some of that, some samples of that, and then student groups across time, so 2 different classes. And then just to orient you to the state assessments, MSTEP, PSAT, SAT, and then just as a reminder, we did not test in 2020, and in 2021 the SAT was optional. So there are some things, we've talked a lot about data reliability and how much you can compare it year over year based upon some of the complexities of the last 3 years especially. And so we're also looking at that, and it helps to amplify the importance of us continue to come back to multiple data points. So in this next set of slides, this is what I would consider static. So this is these are our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders on the MSTEP reading and writing assessment in spring of 2022. And there's a reference point to the state results. And because this is our first slide, I'll just let you and the audience know that blue is considered proficient and advanced, yellow is considered proficient or partially proficient, and then red is considered not proficient. So the yellow is PP, it's partially proficient. I don't have my key correct. So in looking at this, I'm going to go through these slides pretty quickly. You can see that our 3rd graders had a lower rate of performance, whereas our 4th and 5th graders had a higher rate of performance. And yes, we were outperforming the state, and that is true for both reading and math. Chance to look at those. And then I was interested to see what would happen, and I thought it would be interesting for us to do some inquiry around this. The third grade trend, and I would call this a year-to-year comparison. So if you were a third grader in 2019 versus being a third grader in 2021 versus being a third grader in 2022, what does your data story look like? And it's interesting, and here what we can see is there is a decline in our scores. And our 2019, that would have been our students testing in spring of 2019, that would have been a whole complete year. 2018-19 was that one complete year of students in third grade. And then in 2021, so again, we didn't test in 2020. 2021, the students were engaged in the hybrid model of instruction and or virtual, depending on what they elected. And then in 2022, we were back in person, but we still experienced some discontinuity in terms of the learning models based upon absences and teacher shortages and things like that. And of course, we also recognized last year when we were doing some of our presentations, the incredible need for SEL support, acclimation back to the school setting, getting used to being a student again, and the kinds of strategies that required us to focus on last year. And so I don't know that I'm overly surprised by the results, but it is definitely something that we are really conscious of. And because this M-STEP data trends with our local data, because we saw this in some of our Acadians, benchmarking exit scores, we already had plans in place. So we did have summer programming in place for our students this summer if they were identified as a student who needed additional support at the elementary levels. We also have incorporated additional early literacy professional development for our K-2 teachers to focus on foundational literacy skills. We are shifting our math approach using Sherry Sunan as our intensifying intervention specialist to focus on tier 1 math strategies to help impact the positive growth of these scores, as well as working on curriculum alignment and taking a look at what kinds of skills are being revealed. There's layers and layers behind these data points of what kinds of skills students need, whether it's automaticity or fluency, and connecting the dots for our teachers so that they can use the data really to empower the instructional moves they're making in their classroom. What's interesting is that when you look at some call it the read by grade 3 law, some call it, sorry, I have it down here. This legislation around read by grade 3, it shows a slightly different story, but another angle that we take into consideration. And this is the law in which students could be eligible for retention if they did not meet the state requirements. And so the state sets the conditions for the data points by which we would make these decisions. And in our district, we had 295 third graders who were assessed, and 86% of them met the requirements. So to go on to fourth grade. So that story feels like a nice supplement to the story that the M-STEP data across time shows. We had 2.4, so we'll call it 7, eligible for retention. When a student is eligible for retention under this legislation, districts do go take steps in order to provide supports to those students. So some of those supports are listed there. So thinking about evidence-based classroom instruction plus small group instruction to accelerate progress. Intervention is targeted, explicit, and systematic for those students, as well as other students who we've identified. Progress is monitored every other week with adjustments made if their progress has not been sufficient. And then, of course, communication with parents to partner in the student's success. So still in the elementary bands, the story that fourth grade tells is a little bit different. So in fourth grade, when you look at the year-to-year comparison, so if you were a fourth grader in 2019, a fourth grader in 2021, or a fourth grader in 2022, you can see that there's some really positive movement happening in terms of the data and how students are performing. On the left hand is the reading and writing, and on the right hand side is math. And in this data, what you can see is that our fourth graders are actually performing now above our pre-pandemic levels. And these fourth graders, I had to write down because there was so many dates and whatnot, that sorry, I've got too many slides with too many different angles on it, so I want to make sure I'm not confusing it. So this is fourth grade to fourth grade to fourth grade to fourth grade. So our fourth grader today is outperforming our fourth graders of 2019. Despite the dip in math that you see in 2021. So interesting for us when I say areas of inquiry, like it's just so interesting to talk about like what is it? Was it developmental? Were there different strategies? How much of it's complexity from outside of the school and the kinds of experiences students had during the pandemic? It's a lot of work that the teaching and learning team has to do as we continue to support the district and teachers meeting student needs. To move on to middle school, here's that static data. This is just 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. This is reading and writing. And then this is math. Similar proficiency levels and trends to elementary, still outperforming the state. But again, I think it's more interesting when you dig in and look at, in this case, because of the data that was available when the pandemic happened, taking the data and looking at it through the lens of a class of 2028, so our current 7th graders. So if you are a 7th grader right now and you took the M step last year, you can see based upon these graphs that this, they are making gains. So there was a dip in performance, of course, in 2021 after the pandemic and in our hybrid year. And across 2021 to 2022, you're starting to see an upswing in student performance in both areas. Certainly there's still room for growth. So some of the things that we have implemented in addition to the programming that we already had in place. We provided summer programming for our middle school students, targeted tutoring for students who are identified as needing additional support that will continue throughout the school year, mastery-based learning, strategic curriculum alignment, and then added a secondary MTSS coordinator to support intervention at the secondary level, so 6th through 12th, to help continue to make these grow upon the gains that we have made. 11th grade. This is SAT, so these are our current seniors. While I did not do the comparative to the state embedded in the graph, it is at the bottom. And if you look at, again, coming back to sort of the year over year, this one was a little trickier, and it's not apples to apples, but I would argue that probably none of them are apples to apples because of the COVID years for the last 3 years. But the class of 2023 are current seniors. From their M-STEP year in 2018 to their SAT year in 11th grade, you can see that they made huge gains in their evidence-based reading and writing. Whereas in math, there's a slight decline there. And similar to the secondary approaches that we're taking in terms of addressing that, we are also implementing a curriculum review, specific and strategic for math and science. And that's science is actually on the next slide, as well as leveraging the secondary MTSS coordinator to help us talk about how we can build an intervention program that can best meet students' needs. Because our hope is always to grow. This is, sorry, it's really small on these slides, or on the screens in here. This is science. Also a little trickier, but between 2021 and 2022, the growth. So this is just from the end of our hybrid year to the end of last year. And blue is proficient and advanced. So you can see it's on the far left, it is 5th grade. Up on the top right is 8th grade. And on the bottom right is 11th grade, where our science scores are showing improvement across time. And again, we are implementing some strategies in order to positively impact student growth. And that looks a lot like instructional strategies in those two different areas, math and science, as well as doing strategic curriculum reviews. And we also spent quite a bit of time this summer and dedicated some funding to having teachers look at their science, math, and English curriculum in order to address any needs, gaps, or alignment issues that they might want to come back to for this year. So when I think about big picture, bright spots, and of course areas of focus. Like there are areas where we are doing a really great job and our students are showing improvement. And I think about the students who and the things that they have experienced across the last 3 years, especially when you look at the 7th grade and the 11th grade and to still see that growth there. I think that's very hopeful and it makes me very optimistic about the direction that we are going. And I recognize that we have some room to grow and that there are some strategic things that we can be doing, things that we have already put in motion. And so this next part is just talking through what that continuous improvement looks like. So as a district, we set goals. So here's our data. Here are some of the trends that we're noticing, both at our bright spots and focus area. So what are our goals, our action steps, and our strategies? So as I explained in July, the district continuous improvement cycle, we're sort of in the end of quarter 3 right now, so coming to the end of September. So we have a plan. We have set 2 different complementary goals, which I'll be sharing in just a minute. We've onboarded our leaders. We've really helped to leverage the enthusiasm around the bright spots to talk about our next steps, to explain the why. And we are also moving into implementing the plan. That plan looks like us making sure that we're continuing to center priorities, Dr. Lotch's goals, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, as well as the community priorities that were identified during our ESSER conversations. And the top 3 priorities, and you can see them sort of living and breathing in the goals that we have, that were identified as a part of all that collaborative work that we did with student, staff, and community stakeholders, really centered on continuing to employ existing staff and hiring new to maintain quality of services, providing mental health services and support, and addressing learning loss among students. So with all of that in mind, the 2 goals that we have to move forward through this year, and these are actually multi-year goals, so they're across time. They're not necessarily from point A to B, but we do monitor at intervals, and we'll be reporting out on that. What we call the first goal, but they're not in priority order, is to increase the overall rates of mastery in the content areas as measured by local assessments at K-8 and then course grades in 9-12 among students regardless of subgroup by increasing staff competency in the use of evidence-based culturally responsive instruction. And then the second, strengthen social emotional support models in order to positively impact staff and student self-reporting of SAS services as measured by the Biennial Perceptions of Equity Survey. And those district goals drive our building level strategies. The building level strategies are the ones that will help us reach these goals. And I apologize, there's not a chance I'll be able to read those by standing over here. Not a chance. I'm not even gonna put my glasses on. There's no answer. And I did share these out in July. So at this point in time, our buildings, when we talk about implementing the plan, our building leaders have taken these goals. They are working with their staff members to talk about the importance of them, the elements of them that are going to most impact student growth, whether it be both, it is actually both in the area of social, emotional health and academic growth. And that looks a lot like us being very intentional about our programming, really thinking through targeted staffing, and really thinking through our integrated professional development. So just to summarize some of the things that we have done in terms of intentional programming. So how are we going to get to those areas of growth that we've identified and continue to build on the bright spots that we can see is, to continue summer extension opportunities and to grow those. This year we grew our EL summer camp as well as our K-5 summer programming, and we added tutoring for 6th through 12th grade students in math and English. We increased SEL support at each of our buildings, whether it was bringing back community meetings and leveraging those, incorporating advisory time at the middle school, restructuring Hornet time. This year, the high school included 4 days at the beginning of the school year with Hornet time so that they could onboard their high schoolers in a different way, in a more positive way, that was more structured so they had more face time with teachers, over their advisory teacher or the Hornet time teacher over and over again. while also providing some of the structures and guidelines that help make our schools safe, supportive, and healthy spaces for everybody. In terms of targeted staffing, we did expand, you met some of them this evening, our SEL coaches, our BCBAs, and counseling support, being really intentional about how we're using these different wellness professionals in order to support our students' health. As mentioned earlier, we added a secondary MTSS coordinator, and we're leveraging the specialist, Sherry Sunan, who's our intensifying intervention specialist for math. And then we also increased adult presence via student deans in our middle school and our high school so that we can continue to support safe spaces so students can best learn. And then, of course, our professional development model, which you've heard me talk a lot about in previous presentations. A heavy focus on early literacy training with our K-2 teachers to impact those reading scores positively. Culturally responsive instruction. Dr. Washington is here with me this evening. And we have our Flex PD, which we call Inclusion Is from Policy to Practice, and we're integrating that at intervals throughout the school year, as well as integrating it into staff meetings and other whole district PDs where able. And then the strategic curriculum review cycles. And our hope is by being really intentional in our reflections on our data, both in noticing the bright spots and being really self-critical and thinking about our next steps, and putting intentional programming, targeted staffing, and integrated professional development into place in a strong way that we will have positive student outcomes and continue to see the growth and sustain the excellence that Saline has established across the years. So with that, I want to say thank you and ask that if you have any questions. I know that all of you know what a difficult day it's been. So I know that usually we do questions at the end, and if you could gather those questions up, I'm happy to answer them via email, and or if the community has questions, they can email them to you or directly to me, Kara Davis, Director of Teaching and Learning. Thanks.
Kara, thank you so much. Lots of good data for us to take some time and unpack, and email questions, and community members, like Kara said. And again, our condolences to our staff and students. Thank you. Moving on to our first action item tonight, because we're not allowed to discuss business that we vote on as a board outside of the board table. The first motion is going to be a recommended motion to appoint a voting delegate to represent the Saline Board of Education at the 2022 MASB Delegate Assembly being held on Thursday, October 20th, 2022. So just to open discussion to discuss this. Susan?
Oh, yes. So,
are you making the motion?
yes, I am.
Okay, second?
Sure, let's open the discussion.
Brad. All right, thank you. Go ahead, discussion.
I'm part of the MASB Bylaws and Resolutions Committee, and will already be at the conference and part of the delegate assembly. Typically, members of that committee are delegates. But yeah, if anybody else was wanting an opportunity, or I know we can have a right? Was that on there? Yeah, an alternate. So I just want to put that out there that I'm happy to do it again.
Okay, is anyone else planning to attend MESB on Thursday night? Okay, then it's not going to be Michael. Is anyone, I think instead of an alternate, if none of us plan on being there Thursday night, I would be comfortable with moving forward to appoint Susan and have the motion go through again. And then Susan, if in the event of illness or any kind of issue, just let us know and we'll find an alternative. Does that sound good? Okay, so the next motion will be, I'd like to entertain a motion, please, to appoint Trustee Estep as the voting delegate representing the Saline Board of Education at the 2022 MASB Delegate Assembly being held on Thursday, October 20th, 2022. Motion McVeigh.
Support Jones.
Candace. Thank you. All those in favor, please. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 6-0. And we'll put that on for the first motion as well. Our second motion, an action item, I'd like to please entertain a motion to approve the awards of $179,745 to Licole Planners and $530,950 to Matic Visual Incorporated as recommended by Executive Director of Operations Rex Clary.
Good evening.
Oh, one moment. Motion made by trustee
Sure.
Kirby. Thank you. Second?
Eastep.
Susan, thank you. All right, go ahead.
Sorry. So this is the last piece of the puzzle of getting the learning space at the high school, improving it with the HVAC and control installation. As you can see by the pamphlet, we've already purchased the materials. We hope to receive the train controls in February or March. This would be planned for a summer installation of 2023. The energy savings, the rebates, add up to about $116,000. And our mechanical engineer who did the planning for this sees significant savings, energy savings up to double that, up to $250,000 in gas and electric. And most of that, it has to do with the replacement of the 18 variable frequency drives at the high school as part of this project.
Great. Thank you for the diligent work on that. Any questions or comments, Brad?
So on the cost savings piece, right, where you talk about, I think it's $115,000 a year?
For the rebate.
Okay, and then what was the annual
Our mechanical engineer figured it at $250,000. That's a conservative number.
How many years do we anticipate realizing that $250,000 savings?
Well, it depends on rates and usage.
Do you have like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm trying to get across is what we're spending here is worth what we're saving.
He feels
in excess.
Well, with this, what we're going to have is complete control of the high school again. We don't have control right now. With the Novar controls, we have a lot of system drops in those classrooms. So this will give us controls to turn things back, start things slow, occupied, unoccupied. I remember the company that installed these controls went out of business before the school opened. So it's been an uphill battle for us from the start. But he figures by the calendar year of next year, we'll save roughly $250,000 in energy and gas savings. 1 year. Correct. Correct. Correct.
All right, thank you. Any other? Yeah, Allison, go ahead.
Out of curiosity, when talking about electricity and gas, does that relate to the heating and cooling of the building as well? I assume so.
Yes.
I think every single student at Saline High School would weep tears of joy if the heating and cooling at Saline High School was regulated. So I don't actually have a vote in this, but just wanted to put that out there.
I appreciate it.
Very important stakeholder. Okay, seeing no other comments or questions, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Moving on to administration updates, Dr. Latch.
Okay, I do have a few tonight. I want to congratulate again the Foundation for Saline Area Schools Hall of Fame class of 2022, which consisted of Ruby Cool, Dave Walter, David Helmer, Amy Yacola, Mac Danforth, and Terry Walters. I think it's important to realize that these are some of the people that laid the foundation for the school district, and it's a great honor that they've received. We were talking at this event how 2 of these educators are music educators, former music educators, and they set the foundation for the fact that Saline Area Schools is one of the few districts in Michigan that offers 5th grade music for all students every day. That's a big deal as you build a music program. That started a while back, and we continue with that today. So, we want to make sure we're honoring and recognizing the people that really helped set a really solid foundation and direction for Saline Area Schools. So we had this weekend with honoring them at the football game, and also an event on Saturday evening at the high school in the auditorium, and Assistant Superintendent Ellis did an excellent job of setting this up, and so did Foundation for Saline Area Schools Executive Director Stacy Rumpstup. So that was excellent. The other thing I wanted to make an announcement about is an upcoming September 20th Board of Education Candidate Forum. Now, as most of you are aware, Saline Area Schools is hosting a Board of Education Candidate Forum to ask questions of candidates who are running for school board in the November election. But I want to make it clear that there's no conflict of interest with me, that I, the superintendent, am not organizing or attending the event. It's actually being organized by high school students, and Anna Britnell is helping to coordinate that, and it will be run here, and questions will be shared ahead of time to the candidates. It's a public event, and it will also be live streamed. There'll be more communication coming out through social media and also in my upcoming Friday community update. So I just wanted to clarify that's the format and the method in which we're moving forward. Finally, just wanted to share a little bit about the bond proposal update, that we've been working as a capital projects team. We've been attending open houses at school, passing out brochures to make sure that we have information about the bond proposal out to the community. Communicating the bond with Ms. Britnell's assistance through social media. We're also answering questions through Let's Talk. We're meeting with people who participated in focus groups. And we also have a number of scheduled meetings coming up to talk about the bond proposal with groups like Rotary. We're going to visit Brecken Village, high school athletics, and so forth. So just that's an update I wanted to provide. Thanks.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. Allison?
So first and foremost, as a high school student, I'm pretty excited about homecoming next Saturday. And the day before, there's a football game, which is the Hornets versus Skyline at Saline Stadium on the 23rd, so that's pretty exciting. The Chad Tough Run is on October 1st, and there is going to be a 5K, which is not for me, or a 1 mile fun run, which is much more my speed. And so that is going to be a good way to offer some support and fundraise. Dr. Catherine Kelly, who I see in the audience today, is having an open house with Saline Social Services on September 25th, where there's going to be some face painting and play areas and stuff like that. And then Oktoberfest, which I'm sure if you drove here, you saw about 20 signs for, is on September 17th. And there's going to be a lot of stalls, including a Chad Chef stall, which me and a few of my friends will be manning, so that's exciting as well. And just some later news down the line. The capstone program at the high school is hosting 2 service learning opportunities this year. So one of them is the house building in Mexico with the Amor service group, which is in November, and the community building in Ecuador with Tandana, which is in March. So if you are a junior or senior and you're interested in service or going on a trip somewhere with your friends, you can email Jen Denson about that.
Great, thank you very much. Any trustee updates? We have a cricket in here. Can you hear that? I've been listening
for several weeks.
Welcome back to school, crickets. Anybody? Yeah, Susan, go ahead.
So we don't have to hear the cricket. The DEI Advisory Committee has 6 openings. I know that's been shared through social media and the weekly update as well. We're accepting applications actually on a rolling basis, but if you want to be considered for, we have 6 spots for new members, and if you want to be considered for that, that is due September 30th. And we are getting together with the DEI AC board representatives, along with, I believe, Superintendent Lotch and the co-chairs to review the applications and just have a discussion and give recommendations. So I think that was it.
All right, thanks. Michael?
I could. I just wanted to share that on Sunday I took a tour of the Saline Area Social Services, the new facilities they had. Oh my gosh, after seeing the old house that they were had on Highway 12, this is it was so wonderful, and I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone involved with the Saline Area Social Services. They do support a lot of our families and a lot of our children in this district, and I'm very impressed. there will be continuously fundraising to keep the shelves stocked. And if you have extra vegetables to share, I'm sure they would be happy to take them off your hands.
All right, I'll go next. So a lot of really important dates were mentioned throughout the evening, so I won't repeat them, but look forward to seeing you at those events. In addition to that, I was really grateful to be asked to be a judge for the SWWC contest at the Saline Fair in Joint Administration. We have some really, really talented high school students in those programs, so thank you to all of them. Cookies were good, too, the bribery cookies from the culinary department. Thank you, Chef Danielle. And all of the teams there were really, really passionate about possible futures in those areas. So I was really impressed with that. Also, shout out to the Foundation for Saline Area Schools. Again, Steve mentioned the Hall of Fame, really wonderful porch event, being able to see so many community members there and hear about their passion to be back in school and kind of back to normal. Everyone was really, really excited. And it was wonderful to see a sea of orange for Chad Tuff as well. So appreciated seeing everybody there. Any other? Yeah, Brad?
All right, so the first thing on a business front, finance. So you'll notice that the finance team, we took the month of September to allow the team to take a breath and to answer questions from the community about the bond and acclimate to the new school year, sports schedules, you know. And it's a lot at the beginning of the year for parents and for families, and we totally get that. So we plan to resume those things in October. I want to say that I really appreciate the efforts of our team to be at those things like open houses and in the community and what have you. Those things are noticed. I see you there. I see you greeting. I see you handing out pamphlets and answering questions and being just present. And I want you to know how much I appreciate you giving of your time, your service, your energy, your wisdom. So thank you. Under the consent agenda, you're going to see a quick item, and they even it's in our board packet. I did engage in a 10-minute phone call with Plant Moran. It's a legal requirement. Miranda sent me an email and said I'm the guy. So I guess this is a treasurer finance chair thing, and so it was one of those things where I said, all right, I'll step up. Everything with Plant Moran and that phone call looked like it was on solid ground, okay? They answered a few questions I had, and I was happy to hear. They audited us on the general fund, but they also audited us on our federally allocated dollars to make sure on some of those things and some of the ways in which those monies are titled and allocated, so that's okay. And then also with bond funds, so that was good. And then they assured me we'd be on time. They said we could anticipate mid-October, which is historically when we've been, but that we would make the November 1st deadline for sure. So as far as finance goes, I feel pretty comfortable with where we're at. The second item, I hope you guys will appease me for a second, is entirely personal. I hope my colleagues here will give me a moment to talk about the Beasley family and what they mean to me. Just for me, I'm a Manchester teacher, for those who don't know, and the Beasley family they're a giving and supportive family. They have tremendous character, and Steve, thank you for your words earlier, right? Like she was dedicated and she cared deeply about kids, about the community, and it means a lot to me because Kendra, the most important thing in my life is my children, and she watched my children, and she took care of my children and so that family and we bonded through. She was a coach for varsity volleyball at Manchester, and I was a varsity, we bonded through that, and I just want you, I guess I want to say to Kendra and Josh, I cannot express my condolences enough to you. And I know that we had tremendous conversations about spirituality, and I know you're finding comfort in those in these difficult times, but I hope you find comfort in those and in each other. And I want you to know you're in my thoughts, and that your mom and your grandparents, they did incredible things, and they did great things for students, they did great things for colleagues, and they did great things for people like me in Manchester and here. So she will be missed, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Thanks, Brad. We're sorry for the loss of your friend. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move on to consent agenda. The following are offered as part of the consent agenda. The motion noted will allow for the authorization of all listed items without discussion unless a member of the board requests that any one or all be considered individually. These items will not be read aloud, but will continue to be listed out individually in the minutes for this meeting. I'd like to please entertain a motion and move to authorize the list of items as part of our consent agenda.
Motion, Gerby.
Support, McVeigh.
All right, Brad and Michael, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Items scheduled on our next agenda for September 27th. Dr. Lodge?
Right, we have a couple in a bond proposal update by our capital projects team and a safety and security update led by Assistant Superintendent Ellis. And then of note, this is the meeting that I'm not going to be at, along with Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, Kara Davis. We will be at an Ed Leader 21 conference. That's the organization that has helped us develop the SAS Compass. So at this next meeting, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Kurt Ellis, will help lead it along with President Stebbin.
Right, sounds good. I'm after seeing how many people Kurt hired, I'm sure that he can handle a board meeting. Looking forward to sharing the table with you, Kurt. This is our second opportunity for public comment. A member of the public may address the board briefly for up to 3 minutes or request to be scheduled on the agenda of a future meeting. We have one. I'm not going to read the rules here, but I will just say that Secretary Jones has our card, so 3 minutes to speak. The yellow means 30 seconds left. The red means 3 minutes has ended, so you'll want to complete your thought. And I'd like to call Lori Sames, parent and Saline resident and 2022 Board of Education candidate, to the podium. Lori, if you can just toggle on so you see the green light, you're ready to go whenever you're ready. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So good evening to the Board of Education, to the citizens in the room, and to the citizens on live stream. As President Stebbin mentioned, I am a candidate for the November 8th election for the Board of Education, and I wanted to take this opportunity to address you all. So I was raised by a public educator, and my sibling is also a public educator, so I'm very passionate about public education. I'm a global STEAM executive, and I'm the Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer for a Fortune 100 organization, where I lead an organization that is located in North America, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. So very well versed in dealing and working with different cultures, different ideas, different opinions, and bridging that to a decision where everyone feels they have a seat at the table and that their opinion has been heard and respected. As part of that organization, I personally manage a budget of over $15 million. I'm a mom of students in the district, and I'm also the wife of a U.S. military Army veteran. I am not affiliated with any other candidates that are running, and I'm not accepting donations for my campaign. I am an independent, critical thinker, and I'm running a wholly nonpartisan campaign as part of this election. I believe in integrity first and foremost, and I will not compromise that in trying to win this seat, nor will I misrepresent myself or what I will be fighting for as part of winning this seat in this election. I'd like to invite you all, as well as the public and concerned citizens, to follow me and connect with me on my Facebook page, which is SAIMS, S-A-I-M-S, the number 4, Saline. I welcome open and transparent communications and any questions that either you or the public may have for me. So thank you very much for the opportunity and appreciate everyone's time.
All right, thank you, Lori. Seeing no other public comment, we're moving on to number 13, next meeting. Our next Board of Education meeting will be held on September 27th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. here in the Liberty Boardroom. I would like to now please entertain a motion to enter closed session of the Board of Education at 8:05 PM with the intent to reopen open session at 8:45 PM for the purpose of A, under Section 8F, to review and consider the contents of an application for employment, and B, under Section 8K, to consider security planning to address existing threats or prevent potential threats to the safety of the students and staff. A simple majority vote is sufficient to enter this closed session. May I get a motion?
So moved. Jones.
Candace, thank you.
Second, Susan.
Susan, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. We are in closed session. If we can, it might be a little less time, with possible action after the break. So if everyone can please exit the boardroom, we will close the doors and we'll turn the mics off. Thank you. So we're returning from open session. We have trustees checking the doors to make sure they're open and unlocked. One moment. Okay, we are back in open session. Just to let everyone know, we had a recommended motion by Secretary Jones to re-enter open session of the regular Board of Education meeting at 8:52. That was seconded by Vice President McVeigh. So here we are. I would now like to entertain a motion to approve the employment of Stephanie M. Johnson as a cosmetology technician for Saline Area Schools. Ms. Johnson was convicted of a felony forgery in July of 1986. Ms. Johnson paid the fine, completed the 60-day work program, and successfully met the terms of a 3-year probation. Motion made.
Susan Eastep.
Susan, thank you. Second.
Gerby.
Brad, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 6-0. I'd now like to entertain a motion to adjourn the Board of Education meeting of September 13th, 2022 at 8:54 p.m. Brad, thank you.
Second. Eastep.
Susan, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 6-0. We are adjourned 8:54.